Hi guys, welcome into another edition of The Complete Angler. I'm Joe Long, along with JC Brooks, aka the Bluegill Assassin. So guys, today we're talking soft plastics, and we got a little bit of everything out here. This is about, what, a third of our arsenal, so we're gonna have JC ask us some questions, and we're going to do some comments, and anything you don't figure out or anything you want to know that we don't talk about, send us a comment so we can get back to you. So I'm going to turn the floor over to JC and see what questions he has.
Let's try this again. So, I believe this is a camouflaged frog.
Mm-hmm.
What is it used for? What kind of fish is it supposed to catch? Why is it its coloration of camouflage? Literally camo.
Mm-hmm. I don't really know why it's camo. The colors it's made up of black and green and tan, are all good frog colors. This one here is more of a chartreuse green and white. Frogs are used primarily for largemouth bass, mostly in ponds, sometimes in like back lagoons and stuff of ponds where you have a lot of lily pads, and then the frog population is good. I just threw out a couple frogs, but we have a multitude of frogs in our arsenal, and they're real good all around bait for bass. Big bass just love them. They can't resist something that big plopping down up on the top of the water and kicking its legs. So you can really start a frenzy. It's real good summertime bait. It's not something you would want to fish early season. That's a grub. Those could be fished anytime, anywhere, for about anything. You got panfish, crappie, your bluegill, and walleye even eat those. It's just a good all-around small bait. And the other thing you got there, that is a grub, and show them the other end of that thing too.
Which side?
The one you're holding it by.
Oh, like this?
Mm-hmm. That's got a boot tail on the back, and that's got a real erratic action, and those are really good. And we have those in bigger baits too. Like this right here would be Randy's Randy House Swim and Runner. He uses to catch his fish and win the Bassmaster, I believe. But it's got the big boot on the back there. That's an underspin. I really like a lot of the boot design baits. Your big swim baits have that big boot on the back, so there's a lot of nice baits that utilize that. And what it really does is it displaces water as you're pulling it through, and it just has a real wild, erratic action, kind of like a searching bluegill or baitfish.
At this point, I'm literally just grabbing things and asking.
Sure.
What in God's green earth is that?
That's a creature bait. Okay, you can use that just Carolina rig, but you can also put that on the back of a chatterbait or a grub, just to tip it off. We have several different kinds of creature baits here. They're just a good all-around. Mostly I use those on the back of my chatterbaits is the main reason I have them. Yep, you found one of my favorite departments there.
Tubes, right?
Tubes. That's a black and silver. We have chartreuse. Chartreuse was one of my first ones that I used. I also got some different colors here. Black and blue, black and white. It's a good all-around bait. You can use it about any time. Let's see what we got out front here. Cream worms, real small, good early season bait, small profile. It's not going to, and those are nice too. Okay, these are just a real small if you just want to add a little weight, a little texture to a jig, these little guys work pretty well. I kind of like them. I haven't used this particular brand, but I've used another brand. We should have another little, what I call a niblet. It's just a little finesse rig. These are Z-Man, which is the company that makes my chatterbaits. I'm big into chatterbaits. Crankbaits are my go-to, and chatterbaits are my next. But this is just a little bit slimmer, but basically the same thing. Those right there, what JC has, show the folks those. I believe those are a swim bait.
Smart bait.
Yeah, smart bait. It's a swim bait. Smart bait is the name. Real good. You can put that on a jig head. You can put it Carolina style. It's kind of a fluke looking design. One of the things I'm really excited about are these right here. This is from Big Bite Bait Company. I think this came in a Lucky Tackle Box.
I think it's on that episode too.
Real nice long. This is a real good ribbon tail. Smell that thing.
I'm not smelling your hand. It smells fishy.
It smells like black licorice to me.
It smells like fish to me.
Kind of looks like it. Real nice bait. Now, when would you use? Where would you use a black worm?
Well, let me just kind of think this one out. I'm going to think aloud. So, I'm going to try to narrow this down.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, good. Dark. This is like for like a darker type water.
Mm-hmm.
This could be. Well, this could be for almost anything.
That's good anytime. Let me see one of those guys. Is that one of them? Are they all that way? Yeah, these are the Nico worms. It's a Nico rig worm. That's a creature bait right there that you have there. But the other one was a Nico.
So, which one am I supposed to figure out again? I already lost it.
The black.
Black one, okay. Clear water?
I like to fish a big black worm real early in the morning. I just find I really have a good success ratio with that, and I don't know. I've always had luck with it. That's when I always go with it. I really like them thin ribbon tails. I don't, and the other thing I found, as far as a worm, I'm not big on worm fishing, the Worm King is.
Mm-hmm.
But, that's a thumper tail worm. You see that big thing there?
Yep.
That's a big thumper tail worm. Those put out a really crazy vibration. You put them on a shaky head jig or just a plain jig like that, and you get them down there and you just kind of let it go, and it's going to stand up, and then you pick it up and let it go.
So this thing is completely covered in sand. It has a bluish texture.
It's probably salt. Yeah.
Yeah, I guess you're right.
Probably garlic salt. The reason I put salt on some of my soft plastics is it keeps them from melting to the box.
Well, either way, you can tell it's had some good use to it.
Yeah, that's been ripped and...
But I think this is supposed to be a bluegill, I'm guessing.
A bluegill or a shad. Its main design would probably be a shad. It's got the boot tail back here. Just kind of a different swim jig. Here's another kind of swim jig here. This one's just on a simple hook. This one has more of a tube tail. So it's kind of a combo. Literally, we have everything in creation here at our fingertips that we can use. One thing I did want to show you, I really like this. This, I think, come in a mystery tackle box. Jinko Fishing Trimmer Pack. It's got the trimmer head and trimmer shad. I really like the coloration of that shad. That looks a lot like my crankbait that I use all the time. You guys see that? Let's see, what else we got out there?
We've really covered a lot of it, to be honest.
We have. Oh, I like these. Alright, here's another swim bait. This is by Bass Crashers. Kind of a mid-size. It's got a big boot tail and a real flexible back right there.
Yeah, I noticed that.
Real flexible. That's going to put out a real crazy. You put that down on a shaky head and you kind of shake it a little bit. That tail is just going to go crazy. It's going to look like a little feeding bluegill or something. And you know one thing, during the spawn, when they're sitting on their nest, they got their eggs or their little fry, their little hatchlings, they have to protect them from bluegill. Okay, bluegill will come and that'll be a good meal to eat some of these little guys. So, a little heavier weighted jig.
Where's that one that I had? Yeah, this one. I had another question about this one. I'm going to let you continue about that, but I do have a question about that.
Yeah, this would be a good jig head to put that on. And what you do is you run that down and it comes down into the bed. And them bass are going to eat it or, you know, bite
That's my
at
question. It has a weight on the front, so that's just going to drive it right down to the bottom, right?
Pretty much, yeah. That tail will be fluttering the whole way down, and then you pick it up a little bit, and then you let it go. And you pick it up a little bit, and you let it go. And it's down on that bed, and that bass is thinking, I better get at that, or it's going to be eating some young. So guys, I think that pretty much covers at least a broad outline of some of the things we have. We didn't really get to talk too much about, you know, lizards or, you know, grubs, but it's a broad sketch. Please leave a comment if you have a question. JC, you got anything in closing?
Yeah, I do, actually. I personally didn't ask a whole lot of questions like I usually do, so that's kind of my fault because, you know, I'm used to maybe 2 tackle boxes and 4 things up there, and I can kind of spread it out and cover everything. With this, we have, as you can see, 4 tackle boxes, 2 of them which are literally overflowing, and a crap load of stuff here, so I wasn't able to cover everything that you guys might have wanted me to, so I'm sorry about that, and if you have any questions, like he said earlier in the video, just leave a comment, ask them, and we'll answer them.
Alright guys, for Joe Long.
Oh, I should know this by now. JC Brooks.
You should know your name.
Yeah, I should know. When you look at me, that's when you're supposed to say, that's the cue, guys.
Hey, thanks guys for watching. We do appreciate your input and your views, so
Link and subscribe. Like and subscribe. Oh, is it like? I thought it was link. See, I haven't been on YouTube for a while. Like and subscribe. My bad.
And drop us a comment. Drop us some pics of your you know latest catches or last year's greatest catches. All right, guys. Thank you very much. Bye bye.